Hi, my name is Shataka, and welcome back to or tuning in to my train of thoughts, my perspective. And remember, it's not up for debate. This is my perspective through my lens. And today's topic, and I'm gonna say today's topic because this is something Spirit has been talking to me about. And when I say spirit, I'm talking about my spiritual team. My spiritual team consists of archangels, light beings, a version of me, higher perspective version of me, my higher self. I have some ancestors, loved ones that's transition over, continues to communicate with me. So this is through that lens of talking. The topic today is spiritual bypass. What does that mean? What does it look like? And you may hear the words of me use distraction, deflection, um, disillusion, distortion. All the words are connected to spiritual bypassing. And I'm gonna just give you a story behind that. For me, newly being on a journey in 2019, I was going through emotional roller coaster. That was the end of a relationship, and that was my catalyst for seeking what was inside of me. And throughout that, my gifts started coming on even more. They were amplified. I started hearing more louder, different dialects, different accents. My visions were tuned up. I was getting movie clips of things that was happening in my life and in other people's lives, things that I shouldn't have known about. And that distracted me from dealing with the trauma and triggers that got me seeking. And I went on that escapade or rabbit hole for nearly a year to almost 2 years, where throughout those 2 years, I would deal with some of my shadow work and inner child healing, but I wasn't getting down to the root cause of really dealing with the shadow work and inner child healing. I got so engulfed with the mysticism side of things to where I was more excited about talking to angels and light beings than dealing with my own shit. And throughout that, it allowed me to deflect. And as I started taking on clients to share my gifts, again, another deflection, I forgot about the purpose of why I was going through these things. And knowing that my purpose, my path can be shared with others and they can see where they can shift and change, the things that they're going through. But I was so caught up in learning who I was in a past life till I wasn't even present in this life. Learning what I did, what power I yielded, all of that, not knowing that I yield the same power in this lifetime, but I was so focused on the past or past lives and other people's lives till I distracted and completely left what I was supposed to do with me to the wayside. My guys will always tell me that, doing the shadow work, Shataka, that's where your gifts are. I'm like, no, I don't want to go through that. That's dark. I don't want to feel that. I truly disconnected from my emotions. I didn't want to feel anything. I thought that being that I was enlightened, so I thought that I wouldn't have to feel any darkness, any depression, any lack, all those things that got me to seeking. I pushed them away. I pushed them under the rug and said, no, I don't have to deal with that now because I am enlightened. What I failed to realize that being enlightened means that the light is shined on you. The light is shined on your choices. The light is shined on how you show up and be present, how you respond to the world. That's the light that you should be seeking, not any type of facade or gaslighting that tells you you are the chosen one. And don't let me tell you that you're not, because we're all our chosen ones, but What are you chosen to do and what are you choosing to do? That should be a question that you ask yourself instead of gaslighting yourself. And I know the gaslighting feels good because it distracts you from dealing with the shit that got you to where you was at. To the point where, I wanted to do plant medicine in 2020. That was right when COVID hit. And the spirit of the plant medicine ayahuasca came to me in a vision, and I had no idea what to expect. But she came to me in a vision in kind of a older ancestral grandmother type of energy. And she told me that, she said, Shataka, you're not ready. You're not ready to partake in this energy cleanse and this doorway or this walkway. You're not ready for that yet. And I was disappointed and I was frustrated, angry because I didn't realize I needed to do my own work first so I could receive all the gifts, all the rewiring that was designed specifically for me. By me trying to bypass it and not deal with the shit that I needed to deal with, it wouldn't have lasted. And I know part of my purpose is I need to go through things, to get through things, to know that I am the source of things. And sit with that for a minute. I had to go through things to get through things to know that I am the source of things. My choices in the moment determines what my future may look like. Not what I've done in the past, because that was an experience that I did and that was a choice that I made at that particular time. And I was holding on to those choices that I made, which made me not like myself. And that's crazy to not actually like yourself. I will forgive everybody that was in my immediate surrounding, but couldn't forgive the choices that I made. I was willing to take plant medicine, so I thought that it would delete every bad choice that I made or every bad person that I allowed into my life. And that's so not the case. Plant medicine, when I finally did take plant medicine, was a doorway for me to take off my mask, was for me to see who I truly was behind all those labels that was given to me. But before I could recognize and acknowledge that, I needed to do my own due diligence and shadow work, which looked like going through to see a therapist. It looked like getting my physical health in check, getting my diet in check, getting my mind right, using discernment with the people that I was allowing, continuously allowing in my circle because they was gaslighting me. I had to go through those things to realize that it's all coming back to me. It's all looping back to my choices. I had issues with my father, when I was younger because I felt like he abandoned me, not realizing he went through the things that he needed to go through. But I allowed that to shape my reality. I allowed that to shape how I viewed men, how I viewed relationship, how I viewed even being alone. I had to deal with that before I took ayahuasca because all it was going to do is bring up more of that. And if you're not ready to see that, that's going to be a hard journey. I had to deal with not feeling good enough before I did ayahuasca. I had to deal with separating the spiritual side and this human experience before I dealt with ayahuasca. Man, it was so many uncomfortable days that I just wanted to connect with my guides and be in a whole nother dimension and just eliminate this whole human experience, that spiritual bypassing. And that didn't do me any good because I was staying in the clouds, ungrounded, still making decisions I thought were for my highest good, but it was only a distraction. I was feeding my ego and not my soul. And when you learn the difference of that, your expectations for yourself shift. I shift out of being a people pleaser and learning how to please myself. I shift out of looking for joy and for somebody to complete me, learning how to do that myself. I shift out of needing a relationship to define who I was as an individual. I shipped out of defining success through my job or through my accomplishments, my accolades. I shipped out of that. I no longer need that. Now, again, I'm still having a human experience. I got bills to pay. So I'm not saying just drop everything down and everything will miraculously pay for itself. I'm not saying that. But the momentum behind that is that I have a different relationship with money now. There's no lack. Me and money have a great relationship now. But if I wouldn't have went through those things, I would have still been operating the same way. And what they call that insanity. I was living an insane life and didn't even realize that. I was spiritual bypassing, loving the mystical side of things, but not liking the shadow work side of things because that made me tune into my body. That made me truly look at myself in the mirror and see that reflection back. I also saw the reflections back from my family, from my job, from my significant other, from the world, all that reflected back to me. And at one point, I wasn't ready to see that. I wouldn't turn on the news, and that was one of my ways of saying, "Well, I ain't connected to that," but I was still getting what was inside of me reflected back to me. Even if it wasn't through the news, it was through my job. It was through my friends. It was through family. So you can't outrun that. You have to sit still and stay rooted in your own energy and knowing what that feels like. I had to learn what my yeses felt like in my body. I had to learn what my no's felt like in my body. I did use tools early on. I used tarot, I used astrology, numerology, different psychic readers, pendulum. Say, I use crystals, all those tools, and all those tools did what they were supposed to do for me. But now I am the tool. I don't need those tools to stand in my power. Now they can amplify what I already have, but I was using that as my indicator and not me as my indicator. So I'm not telling anyone not to use your tools. Remember, we're going to all have a different experience. And so this is my experience. I'm now feeling empowered to do whatever I need to do. And those tools just amplify that. And even if I don't have them, I'm the amplifier. Knowing that you're not spiritual bypassing anymore, everything kind of works hand in hand. You can see the dots being connected. It aligns you mind, body, and spirit. When you spiritual bypassing, all you got really is spirit. Because you're not dealing with the mental, you're not dealing with why you're choosing things, your pattern recognition. And your body, you kind of even forget that you need to go out and exercise or treat your body right, love your body, speak good to your body. Allowing people to abuse your body while you're abusing your body. All that connects, all that is part of who you truly are. And when we disconnect one of the components, you're not feeling whole and complete. Again, I'm not saying spirituality isn't important. It is. It's a part of who you are, but it's only a component of who you are. And learning how to be rooted in your own energy means you know what your discernment feels like and looks like. You don't need to be gaslight to feel good about yourself. You don't need validations from others to feel good about yourself. So enjoy the mysticism because I love it. I truly love the mysticism side of things. But I also love my expression in this reality, in this world. Good or bad, indifferent, it don't even matter to me because I know that I'm choosing whatever is in my reality. And if it's something I don't like or don't want to choose, shit, I just choose something different and don't hold on to it. I've learned the art of detachment. That's important to have because as long as you are attached to emotions, people, events, certain things, if you need that to happen in your life to feel good about yourself, you're going to always continue to keep searching. And from my understanding, through my perspective, what my spiritual team has shown me is soon as we come out of the womb, our journey begins. And the journey is coming back to self. We all have the same purpose. That's our purpose. But we have different missions and different expressions of it. I want to invite you to know what spiritual bypassing is. And if you're doing that, I have done that, it's okay. Give yourself grace. Begin to recognize that pattern. Begin to recognize why you don't want to deal with those emotions that don't feel good, but know why they don't feel good. Because you're holding yourself to probably some unrealistic goal, and I am the queen of that. I was holding myself to unrealistic goals. I was comparing myself to other people. That shit don't work. Know that you are enough just being who you are. That's enough. That's where your power is, being authentic, being truly who you are. Your expression is your expression. It don't have to sound like mine. Because hell, I have a Louisiana accent, been in Texas for so long, it's a blend of both things. And you ain't gonna probably hear grammatical correct English, but you get what I'm saying. Be who you are. Don't allow anyone's opinion to shape who you are. And know why you're choosing the things that you're choosing in your life. That's where your power lies because we are meant to be creators. We are meant to create our reality, and our thought creates our reality. What are you thinking about? What's running a loop in your mind? Spend time to dissect that. And a lot of people will tell you to meditate. For me, I'm so neurodivergent where I can't sit still all the time. I had to learn to do things differently for me. Sitting still and not saying I'm meditating or humming or doing different things works for me. It may not work for you, but that's what it's all about, learning what works for you. And give yourself grace. That's the most important piece of it. Give yourself grace and yourself out on shit. That's important. You be accountable for how you show up. Nobody else. That's nobody's responsibility. Nobody's coming to save you. You're equipped to do that yourself. And you're not here to save no one else. You can be the example, but that's it. That's all you're required to do. Be the example. Stay rooted, stay grounded, and stay free. Thank you.